Welcome back to Stack Your Points. As always, I'm Matt from the Matt Clausen YouTube channel, joined this week by RJ. RJ, how are you today?
I got to spend the last hour and a half of my workday waiting for my computer to update because it said the update would take 5 minutes, and it took an hour and a half, and it still wasn't done when I was done with my workday. So we'll log on tomorrow and see if the computer has been updated.
Windows 10 or Windows 11?
Windows 11.
And we're joined as always by Lonnie from the Call Me Lonnie YouTube channel. Lonnie, how are you today?
I won't say as always because I have missed a couple of episodes for
You're in
various
spirit.
reasons. Yeah, the job that pays for my roof had to deprioritize the episode on like work travel.
Oh, yeah.
But for every chance I can be here, I am always here. You
And
know,
Lonnie also dropped his first members only video for us this past week. So if you're a member,
I
check that out.
I did. I dropped a members only video only for the Stack Your Points channel. It didn't even hit my channel. Completely
Yep.
bypassed it. Yeah, I did that for you guys.
Which is very
And
exciting. And we have two in 6 to 12 months. We have two surprise videos of predictions of Lonnie's that he didn't actually think I was going to put up. But guess what? I am an attentive editor, and those got put up.
they got put up. I was surprised. So now I am fully accountable. So when I get comments and I'm like, why am I getting these comments? I'll
Mhm.
remember.
Yep.
I made my prediction, and someone's going to either be let's do it like this. If I'm right, no one's going to say anything because we're Americans and that's what we do. But if I'm wrong, I won't hear the end of
Yep. That's the internet.
Yep.
it.
Yep. I think that's the internet globally. Uh, Also, Lonnie, today's members video on your channel, fantastic.
Thanks. Yeah, it was a good one. Hop on
I like
over to
it.
Call Me Lonnie. You can become a member over there if you want to see it. We're not going to get into the weeds about it because then I'm taking away from my members, and I don't want to do that.
If you
Yep.
go to stackyourpoints.com, you can actually get links to Matt and Lonnie's show, join our Discord, and check out membership for Stack Your Points. So, one-stop shop for all of the things.
Now that we've done our internal ad read, let's jump into some viewer questions. We've got our first question comes from Jason, who says, I know it's a little past the halfway point in the year, but what are your mid-season all-stars for either a program or credit card that you have actually used? Lonnie, I'll turn to you first on this one.
All right. Card, Hilton Aspire card. That thing came out the gate hot, heavy. I wasn't expecting it to be as good and as easy to use and as valuable as it is. I'll be, and for y'all that don't know, for those that don't know, i.e., have joined after December 2024 when I actually acquired said card. So I've only had it roughly 7 months now, and it just bleeds value. I just if you use it correctly, RJ, this is not even used as intended. If you just go ham on it, I don't understand why anyone cares about a $550 annual fee. That the 550 was squashed like by March for me, and I'm still not done yet. I just passed my first 30K on it, so I got my now second free night certificate already. Because as Matt knows and RJ knows, I've talked about how I spend the first part of my year. I know I have all my expenses come like by the end of April. And so, yeah, I already hit my first 30K on this card. That's not even to mention all the credits that I've gotten that come with the card, all the Amex coupon offers from your Amex account. Add this to said card, and you get miles, or not miles, you get hotel points, or you'll get dollars back. Bruh, as I said, my Hilton Aspire card was a 2025 card for all the Hilton stays. I didn't even talk about that yet. Jeez, all my Hilton stays in which I'm having in 2025. I got more coming in the back half of 2025. And then I said I'll see what I'll do when I hit my year, if I want to keep it or not. This is really like not even trying to like sell me on never gonna cancel club. Like straight up, it's like guaranteed membership. It was like free t-shirt, sign on the line, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It says free t-shirt. Wasn't free t-shirt with stipulations. This card is literally free t-shirt and take one home to your wife. Like, it is that hard of a card. I'm not gonna lie. But you do have to be able to use it. That's the asterisk I will add. Don't just get it for the sake of getting it. Don't just get it for one free night certificate every year. Actually use the card. But when you start adding in $200 on airlines, $400 on Hilton stays, that's $600 right there. And the card's only $550 annual fee. I haven't talked about the free night certificates. I haven't talked about upgrades. I haven't talked about free breakfasts. I haven't talked about any other perks that you get with diamond status. None of that. That card is a keeper. Now, I'm going to stop. The program. Now, this is going to be a hot take. So only take it with a grain of salt. Points boost through the Chase Travel Portal for those that fly United, stay at Marriott.
Boy, I wonder why it's specifically these programs.
An overlap seems to be happening there.
Yeah. If you stay at one of their transfer partners that actually gets a brand within their points boost, hot dog, this is actually pretty easy. I've mentioned this a couple of episodes ago. I found hotels that I'm staying at later in the year and canceled my reservations and rebooked them in points boost because I just found a much better deal. Not just on a point side. So points and price are two separate things, and you got to treat them independently. Price is how much it actually will cost you. Points are how many points you need for said cost. Now, just because it's 2 points per dollar doesn't mean the room stayed the same at the hotel. So when I see it cheaper with points boost, you know how like they say there's only two ways to make money. Either you spend less or you make more. That's exactly what just happened. I spend less and I earn more. And so I got to give it up for points boost over these last like couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks or whatever since it's been out, because I've been able to take advantage of it 3 times, twice for hotels, once for an airline. So I won't give it a full go ham, whatever. But for the less than a month it's been out, I've been able to take advantage of it in a very, very positive light.
Is this shifting your opinion on the CSR changes?
Not enough. Not enough yet. And my opinion will be ambivalent and stagnant until at least October 27th when they kick in. But my annual fee doesn't roll over until January now because I was in that the graduating class. I got all pushed into January altogether. So that'll give me at least 3-ish months to play around with it to see if, can I burn all these within 3 months? Can I use my edit credits and whatever credit sells? DoorDash is pretty simple because I use it now, of course. We shall see. On the surface, though, there is enough value that I can take advantage of organically that I can justify keeping it. $300 travel credit, the edit credit, $500 there, $250 plus $250. That'll take me to $800 by itself. We're not talking about Lyft, DoorDash credits, Apple TV, which I actually use. I don't use Apple Music, but I do use Apple TV. That's $120. There's another one that's $120. I'm blanking on it at the moment. So if you want to count the value I can actually get organically, yes. But at the same time, I want to actually use the card as a travel card, not as a lifestyle card, because I'm a traveler. Not saying I'm not a lifestyle person. You know what I mean. Shut up. Everybody leave me alone. But anyway.
We will not.
For me, the CSR has always been about the redemption side. And the fact that the 1.5 is going away, at least for me in 2027, it will be going away. It still gives me enough time to continue playing with points boost, which obviously, as I just mentioned, I've already started playing around with. But I want to see if it still enhances my travel experiences, not just lifestyle experiences. I can get lifestyle experiences a plethora of ways. It's like Marriott and Hilton Gold status, in my opinion. But I want to see what it does from a travel standpoint, how it disrupts my travel experience that I already have, how I book, how I actually travel, and then also what Amex Platinum is going to do. If they come out super duper hard and do flat rate 1.5 and raise their FHR credit to $500, all the rumors that speculative rumors that is that are out there, we'll see. We shall see. No, I don't have an answer on is it my needle teetering one way or the other for you, RJ. I am taking it with a grain of salt until I have more practice or time with it. Long answer. Hilton Aspire for the win.
Good answer,
No,
though.
good answer though. For our baseball fans, the points boost feature that Lonnie is highlighting is like Jacob Mizorowski. Just showed up one day and suddenly an all-star. RJ, do you happen to have any all-star midseason picks for this year?
IHG Ambassador. That has worked out quite nicely. I just booked an Intercontinental in DC for a little break in Labor Day, over Labor Day, that I'm very excited to participate in. And card the Surpass. Like, the Surpass is such a great card. It is such an easy card. It is a great card. It is the kid brother to the Aspire, but it gives you just so much utility in a lot of categories. One of the few cards by Amex that has gas, which is nice. Not that I have a gas-powered vehicle, but it is always nice. I've been using and abusing the heck out of that. The IHG, just having platinum through the ambassador has been great. I did not expect to get the IHG card to get it that way, so it was for the couple of months. It was very nice having it that way. And the IHG card has also been great. So I guess that is my trio of all stars. I don't quite have the feelings of Lonnie because I don't have the points boost. These are all cards I've had for a little while, so they're not something new for me to gush over. I've talked about all of them. But those three are those sort of the IHG portion and then the Hilton portion have been pretty fantastic. Though who knows? I might have a new Amex charge card by the end of the year, depending on what Amex pulls out. And then I might be gushing over that for half a kidney and part of a large intestine.
Fair. Cards I've actually used just because they've got nothing on the horizon. They're steady. They're workhorses. I'm going to go with my Wells autograph and active cash. I know what they give me. They give me quite a good bit of value. They don't, they haven't done anything to the cards. They're not planning on doing anything to the cards at the moment. Like, they get all-star cred just for doing their job.
So they're
Cal Ripken Jr., Hitter Otani, the guys who are just there, like the guys who are always there, whether or not like they're having good seasons, they're the guys who just end up there.
Derek Jeter, as much as I hate him from a Red Sox standpoint, he was the captain, man.
There were a couple of seasons where
Okay, I'm trying to be nice. Give it to me.
I know. I'm saying that this is one of those Jeter seasons where Jeter's having a down year, but because like, everything else is not great, their consistency is what's making them an all-star for me at the moment. I'm not sure how I feel about the Sapphire Reserve changes yet. Like Lonnie, I'm waiting until I'm stuck in that October grouping. I haven't had the opportunity to pull out points boost myself, so I can't attest to its brilliance at the moment. My other cards, like, I'm not using my Hilton Honors card. My Hilton Honors card's being used by other folks. I'm not fully using my Freedom Unlimited. Other folks are using my Freedom Unlimited. And the possibility of freedom changes after the Sapphire Reserve, like, I want to reserve judgment on that. First half of the year, they were fine. The Freedom Unlimited was fine. So I don't know that it was really an all-star thing. Can't name the Sapphire Reserve an all-star. JetBlue business card I just use from time to time. I haven't. It's just fine. Program wise, nothing's really stood out for me. this year. I've stayed at Hilton's, I've stayed at Marriott's, I've stayed at Hyatt's. All about, you know, all good, all around. I have status with all three, so I've gotten what I've expected. I haven't expected much more than what I've gotten. So yeah, that's been fine. Uh, yeah, so All-Star credit card wise, I'm just gonna go with my reliable workhorses from Wells Fargo, and is that really much of a surprise, me picking a Wells Fargo card?
No. To put it on the record, no.
Yeah. They're following the Hippocratic Oath. First, do no harm. Chase has done some harm. City's done some harm. American Express is waiting to do some harm.
We don't City, we'll talk about it. You and I have very different opinions on, I think, City. I shouldn't say very different. You and I have different takes on City at the moment, which is shocking.
So Jason, yeah, those are a couple mid-season all-stars. I'm taking the lame and boring approach, but hey, you got a Jacob Mizorowski in the room, so those are always good. Or if you're looking at 2024 All-Star Game, Paul Skeens. Everybody loves the Paul Skeens.
I don't watch enough baseball to know who you're talking about, but we're going to let it slide into first on this one.
Most dangerous thing you can do. Appreciate that, Lonnie. We're going to move over to our next question. It comes from Keith, who asks, which company do you think needed the new partnership more, Bilt or Cardless? They both seem to be in a pretty bad shape prior to the partnership. Let me just start off with, you don't want to be in a position where a company that's not known for having particularly strong customer service and can't seem to advertise itself out of a wet paper bag is your best bet for launching your new suite of cards. I think Cardless needed Bilt more than Bilt will need Cardless, but given that Bilt went to Synchrony and Synchrony said no, Bilt went to Barclays and Barclays said, sure, we'll take it, but we want 20% off the top number, and Wells Fargo said no. And we don't know who else Bilt shopped around to, because obviously JP Morgan said no, American Express said no, Capital One said no, Citi said no. Like, if it went to one of those established brands and like they could make points on rent work or points on mortgage work, you would expect that they would have taken on points on mortgage or points on rent. Like Lonnie mentioned last week when we were talking about Bilt ad nauseum, like, you have the former chairman of America, you have the former CEO of American Express on your board, and you can't get American Express to say, sure, we'll take this on. That's a problem. So they both needed each other. Cardless is having a hard time itself. They're in some pretty rough shape. Now, they've launched a number of cards since 2024. The Qatar cards are pretty interesting. You could say that like their ability to be nimble and add points and do promotional stuff and their app looks really cool. Yeah, okay, that's all well and good. They can't convince people to sign up for the card, and they lost trust. They've lost a good amount of trust in the community when they just shut off all of the co-branded cards that they had from sports teams in the middle of the night, no notice. That's not a good look. And now they're going to do one card per family. Are they going to extend that for the Bilt? Are they going to bend that rule for Bilt and allow you to have the no annual fee Bilt card and the $4.95 Bilt card? We don't know yet. So who do I think needed the partnership more? I think Cardless needed it more because Bilt doesn't even need to have a credit card at this point. Like, Bilt is a rent servicing company first. They're going to try to be a mortgage servicing company second. They're a loyalty program third, and like somewhere around 54th on their mission statement, they're a credit card company, or they have a credit card. Like, they don't need the credit card. 15% of their users hold the credit card. 85% of your user base doesn't have the credit card, and you're not even actively pushing that 85% to go sign up for the card, do you really need the credit card in your lineup of products? Some would say yes, some would say no. Cardless is making a big bet here, and I don't know if it's going to work out for them. But Bilt also can't do yet another issuer in 2 years. So we'll see. Lonnie had to step away for just a moment. You know, Lonnie and I do dad duty, so things happen. RJ, your thoughts here. Bilt and
So
Cardless.
I think that Cardless is in a position where we don't actually know how bad they're doing. Nobody seems to care about Cardless, right? But you're assuming they're getting something from the cards they have out there. And I would imagine that the companies that have those cards care more than Cardless does necessarily, right? The airlines that have cards with Cardless, like they want people to use their cards because they're, an airline, and the more people use their cards, presumably the more people are flying with them and using their points and stuff like that, right? I don't know how much Cardless cares about that as long as they're getting enough revenue to keep moving on, right?
Yeah.
We don't, from all that I know from the publicly available information, we don't know if they're a week away from Chapter 11 or something. Bilt, on the other hand, I think is going to have the problem of, you sort of said it in your answer, of you can only go to so many banks before even the quote subprime banks look at you and just say no. And I think that is closer for Bilt, right? Because they have moved so many bill. Like Wells Fargo is a legitimate bank. Whether you think they're a good bank or not, I don't care. Right? That's
Right.
not the problem. They're a legitimate bank though. Like they are good. So I think that losing them or having them point out how much money they're losing on you is not great for Bilt in terms of if this doesn't work with Cardless, them getting somebody else to get on board. So I don't know if Bilt has another strike after this without going to like Credit One or something. I don't know how many more issuers are willing to take the Bilt bet if this fails. I agree. I don't think Bilt wants to have a credit card. And I actually think there is a possibility for a future where they almost have like an airline loyalty number instead of
Hmm.
a credit card. I could see that future, right? There's the loyalty program and almost like a Rakuten, right? Like you put the card in you want to use, they don't care what card, and then they do the program that way. There is that future, right? The problem is that they have contracts that are predicated on them having a credit card right now. So it's very possible that because of that, they can't go there right now. We don't know, right? Some of this is simply we just don't know. Um, but I think Bilt is in the situation that if this doesn't work, they're going to have a really hard time finding another company, no matter how favorable the terms are, to risk it on them. Because if Bilt is making a lot of money, but nobody else around them is making money and actively losing money, like in basketball, like you can have the best player on your team. You can have Shaq, Kobe, Michael, whoever. Right? But if everybody around them is not playing well or not doing well, it doesn't matter, right? Like at a certain point, if that person's being five teamed and nobody else around them can do anything, you're not going to win basketball games. One person making money is great for that one person, but if the overall team is losing money, it's still not a good bet. And
Yeah.
I think Built is close to that point. So I do think it's more precarious. I'm not going to say it's who needed it more, but I think Built is in a more precarious position.
I can definitely see that. I The loyalty number idea, I'm passing along, like Bilt will just handle your rent and give you points for rent in Bilt in addition to your regular card spending, and making rent a better option for you, like being a good option for rent payments, and spitting out the points would be useful. I don't know, like, if they can keep Bill Protect as a thing to do that. That would be interesting to see what could happen there. The one avenue I've always been curious as to why Bilt didn't start building out toward it would be business rent and why they aren't building
Yeah.
a business program.
I
Uh,
mean, I think some of that has to do, like, the business rent industry got decimated with COVID. Like,
yeah,
there are thousands upon thousands of buildings that are empty that people are paying rent on, like, that they prepaid rent on because they expected this to make them a ton of money. And now they're empty because they don't want to lower the price of the rent, because if they lower it there, then everything around them lowers, and then somebody's got to lower it to undercut, and then it keeps falling. Like, they don't want that to
yeah,
happen. So I think business rent, there's also more laws around business rent in some ways than personal rent because of all that happens with businesses and commercial spaces. I think commercial I think the commercial side is maybe a more complicated endeavor than they want to take on right now. They at least need to get personal rent and mortgages off the ground before they go to a corporate structure as far as rent goes.
that's fair. They have personal rent pretty well off the ground because they're involved with 70% of rental, like not more rental mortgage company, but like not 70% of the rental market, but 70% of rental agencies, like major rental companies. They're not going to do the mom and pop rentals. They're not heavily involved with them, but they do have a strong foothold. Um,
I think that mortgages, I think, are easier and a lower hanging fruit.
yeah,
And one thing Bilt is not great at is complication. And I think that business rent is more complicated. I think it's some of it is that. I also think they might have market tested it with businesses, and businesses are like, but why? Literally, I pay this out of a wired bank account from X, Y, and Z. Why would I ever put this
and trust this.
middleman in charge of this? Like, why? Like, real estate people are in some ways the mafia. Like, they're old school in a way that I don't think I don't think they would trust Bilt, and I don't think Bilt would trust them.
That is definitely fair. So yeah, I'm curious to see like what will happen because if built when we find out the deal with Cardless, right, the built question is going to be is built willing to make a concession was built willing to make concessions with Cardless and forced to make concessions with Cardless that they tried with American Express, they tried with everyone else,
I think
and now
American
they have to
Express is
change
the
it.
least good fit of any of the major credit card companies for this.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I
because here's the thing, is like, what is Bilt, right? Bilt is, in a lot of ways, what American Express is, resi versus neighborhood dining. Like, a lot of their lifestyle-ish things compete directly with American Express
yeah.
or have that overlap. I think they're incredibly not suited for just the way their programs run. I think they're just not suited for compatibility. So I understand that a former Amex person was at Bilt, but I've never understood why people say, oh, they should have gone to Amex, or why didn't they go? Because Amex is 100% not suited for Bilt. The only thing I could see is it being on the Amex network, but Amex having nothing to do with it otherwise. They're just simply the payment network. But then there are some weird compatibility issues with American Express. Like, when I had my American Express checking account, I could not add that to Apple Pay. Like, I could add the card to Apple Pay, but I could not move money directly from that account into my like Apple Cash account.
Weird.
It has to be Visa or MasterCard. I called service, I tried every hack around, and ultimately had to come from a Visa or MasterCard. Just was not available for Amex. Well, if somebody is trying to do something like that with their American Express network card, for rent or something like that. Like there are little things like that with Amex. So I do wonder if from an issuer side it wasn't a fit, and from a culture side it surely wasn't a fit. I haven't said on record why I think Bilt and American Express just aren't made for each other, and I think this is the spot I'm going to do it.
No, that certainly makes sense. I'm just curious as to like how like what Built does with Cardless, like what the terms are going to be, because they something has to change, right? They can't keep doing the five transaction minimum. The five transaction minimum pretty much killed the card. Now, is this going to be a minimum spend requirement for rent? Is this going to be a minimum spend requirement for mortgage? We see that that minimum spend requirement seems to be working for Mesa. Mesa's a much smaller vendor. Mesa's a much smaller card. Like there aren't nearly as many Mesa cards as there are Built cards, but Mesa is learning from the mistakes of Built and at least building a solid foundation.
I think Mesa has a benefit that is going to sound like a drawback. Mesa doesn't have great partners. So the people most likely to try to break the program are
Yeah,
not going to go to Mesa. So they're gonna there and there are some people who are gonna try to like hack Air India or something, right? There are people who will try to do that, but the overall percentage of people who are trying to do that are so much lower that Mesa has time to see that, course correct in a smaller way. Like Built's greatest strength, and I think part of their downside is the partners they have, because they are rife for breakage. And
yeah,
they have people who really like the credit card game who seemingly do not understand people who like credit cards. Like, I'm on the record, I am not somebody who wants to hack or break, or that is not at all why I have credit cards. But even I can look at Bilt and go, you can break it here and here and here and here. And I think Bilt got great partners and then realized, oh, if we have great partners and these really weird terms, like, and have these transfer bonuses, we're just going to be used, abused, and turned around.
yeah.
And I think that's why we've seen a lot of the things we have is because their transfer partners are attracting the kind of people who are going to buy five bananas. Like, and that hasn't changed, right? Like things have been nerfed, but that particular portion hasn't changed. And I think Built doesn't understand the people that it is purporting to be fans of and serve, the credit card community. They just don't seem like, for say what you want about Chase or Amex or Wells Fargo or even Citi, right? Like they're banks, financial
Yeah.
institutions, whatever you want to call Amex, right? Like they're banks. They want to put out products that will make them money. If you happen to benefit from them, I don't think they care. I don't think they're trying to screw you. Like, I don't think they're actively trying to screw you. They're just trying to win. And if
Yeah.
you benefit from them trying to win, they're happy because somebody's got to, or nobody will go after their cards. But Built is trying to like, be that like fintech and trying to be the cool kid and want it's like the guy who like has everybody over to his house for his birthday and has like a bouncy castle and a go-kart track and all of this, and then like gets the bill and is like, oh, I messed up, Ron. Like just does not have the ability to like, pay the bill that his mouth cashed. So I think that's the problem with Bilt, right? Is they can't cash the check. Like they can process your rent and they can like, make you want to take a helicopter ride, but other than that, they can't even get their candles out.
Certainly can. Certainly can. I was trying to fit in the phrase, hey, you know that one guy in the cult?
I mean, there are some people who evangelize Bilt that do sound like they're in cults.
It comes from YouTube comments from Rob Nopper Studio, who asks, "Can you do a standalone explainer video of what exactly about exactly why business cards are risky? You mentioned it, but I didn't understand fully. Thank you, Lonnie. Some of the risks of business cards.
I don't feel like we can fully answer this in a short amount of time. This could be its own like section. And I actually asked my co-host that we actually take time to go back and give this the full attention that it needs per the question that's being asked. Now, for a snippet, yeah, let's have a quick snippet of a conversation here. If you've, I don't know how long you've been watching our show there, Rob, but RJ and I have a statement, and that's use your card as intended. Business cards are supposed to be used as business cards, not as business cards, as Matt likes to call out. So they're supposed to be used for business spend and for business purposes. Now, is there someone really going through every single line item, making sure that's happening? No, but that's what it's there for. And part of that risk could be not using card as intended and what could happen there, i.e., you don't want to have an annual fee, put a bunch of spend on a card, earn a bunch of points or miles, and then all of a sudden they're like, you broke our terms and conditions, and just yank all that from you, just straight rug pull it from you. One of the other things is, now it's probably not as big because I'm assuming that you don't default or pay late or anything of that nature. But when using business cards, also one of the things that I hate or fear the most is what count you pay with said business card. You're actually giving the bank permission to take money from that account. So if like you default or anything like that, they can just say, "Oh, this is your business account because this is the account you use for said our business card. You owe us money," and they'll just go in there and take it. Now, if that's your personal account, you can see where that becomes a problem. So that's another one of the risks. But like I said, I'm just spitballing off the top of my head here, but there are a lot more. It's just big question, small amount of time. We actually need to give it the full amount of time that it deserves to fully answer your question. So I'm going to pause there.
So we actually did an entire episode on business cards. If you go back into our history, you can actually see we did a business card episode. Literally search in the Stack Your Points video library for business cards, and it will be there. So definitely go check out that. Like Lonnie said, this is a really big topic. But I did want to put out a snippet of a conversation to his point to draw people, and I will, if I remember, which I should, because I'll make a note to myself, I will link that video in the description of this standalone one. But to Lonnie's point and to other points, like there are no protections really. There are not the same protections. If a business charges you $5,000 instead of $50, Amex is going to say, cool, go to small claims court, but also pay us our $5,000 because that is what is on your account. There's no personal protections on the business side the way there are on personal cards. Not really. Now, here's the thing. There are people who are going to say, well, I called Amex and said it was fraud and they did this, that, or whatever. And there are isolated cases where that happens, but they're under no legal obligation to do it on business cards the way they are on personal. So that is something you have to keep in mind, is there's just different rules. Now, all three of us have business cards. I do not put every single only business transactions on my business cards. I'll admit it, my Hilton business is my catch-all. I understand that. But the things I put on there, I'm putting on there knowing what I'm doing. And I think that is the biggest point with business cards is if you do it knowingly, that's one thing. But there are things that I will take the 1x MR points and put on my MX Platinum, my personal Platinum, because I want those protections. Or my Surpass, whatever. I will put on a personal card because I need or want those protections. So keep that in mind, that there are things you're giving up. It's not all sunshine and roses. A lot of people use them because they want to get around 524 and then realize, oh, I have $10,000 on my personal credit side and I had to put $3,000 on a card on my personal side, and my utilization shot up and my credit score went down 70 points. And I need to go get a mortgage, and now I can't get that mortgage. Like that is a thing that I have heard like from a friend that happened, and they didn't have business cards, they just had one personal credit card. But if you do a bunch of business cards and only one personal card, like that could happen to you. That is not outside the realm of possibility. So just be careful. Again, I'm gonna link a full episode we did on business cards. Tariq went from full like suit and tie down to like the cool principal in a after school special during that episode. One of the better bits he's done. So definitely check that out. But yeah, business cards are not simply the answer to 524. Like they are more than that, and I think our community does not treat them with the respect I guess they deserve. They're sort of like venomous snakes. People can keep venomous snakes and do it well and handle them well. If I tried to do a venomous snake, I would be dead. So your mileage may vary there.
Yeah. Just to follow up, you play with those cards at your own risk. And if you are willing to take on the risks, like when I use my business cards for not so businessy things, it's things that I know I am specifically purchasing for, reason X. And I try to make sure that it's things that I do not have to go back. If I have to go back and say, hey, I didn't make this purchase, I made that purchase, and make sure that I know that my protections only go so far. Like business cards do not protect your personal liability with your card, right? You have protection from Chase, Citi, Wells, American Express, whoever with your personal cards. Somebody takes your card or you drop your card and somebody swipes it for $16,000 on a personal card, you're in the clear if you didn't make that purchase. Business card, you do not get the same level of protection. So like you can mark your business card as lost or stolen or whatever, but whatever may be charged to that card beforehand, you could be on the hook for, and you more than likely will be on the hook for. So just keep that in mind. As for like unintended, like side quests that you do with business cards, like non-business spend, just be careful of what you do with that, because if it is found that you are flagrantly afoul of whatever issuer's rules, they will shut you down relatively quickly. How likely is that to be the case? Well, again, you spend at your own risk. So if you are constantly maxing your card on, I don't know, let's say it's the Chasing Cash and you're walking into Office Depot, several Office Depots around you, because there just happen to be several Office Depots around you, and you're maxing out the card every month, they're going to have an issue. There could be an issue. Like you just have to be aware of what may or may not be happening. And if there's huge spend on your cards, the banks are entitled to see what your cash flow is looking like for your business.
Matt, didn't you have Wells Fargo asked to see some business documentation from you on your oh God, I'm forgetting the name of the Wells Fargo business card.
My Signify, yeah, they sent me a letter, and then they followed. When I called, they were like, "Oh, yeah, we sent that out in error, so don't worry about it." But that letter can cause a lot of agita if they're asking you to show how you make your money on your business. If you cannot document how you make your money on your business, and you cannot show that you have adequate cash flow on your business, they could shut it down. So just be careful. But for more, definitely check out the episode we did on business cards explicitly. We can probably do another standalone video on it, definitely, and we can do another one. We'll probably start like members first and then go public. But yeah, it's always worth doing a reminder on it. Thanks, Rob Nopper Studio. We'll move over to AP, who asks, do you guys have a greatest of all time hotel redemption in mind? that you are generally intending to make happen at some point in time, what hotel and why? RJ, your greatest of all time hotel. Sounds like you recently did it.
So I did it, right? Like I have the IHG ambassador. I'm using an IHG ambassador in Washington, D.C. at an Intercontinental there for a weekend redemption. I'm a simple gal. Like I don't need like I got this amazing hotel room for 5 points. I'm using a cert that is intended to be used. I managed to get a um one of the little suites that I should be upgraded to a full-size suite based on the terms of the IHG ambassador. So I will get a full suite for a weekend in DC by myself. So I get to enjoy whatever I want to do for the holiday. So I am very much looking forward to that. But yeah, it's not gonna be I guarantee it's not gonna be as involved as Matt or Lonnie with their choices. But for me, I am happy and I love me a nice hotel where I get to walk in and feel fancy. Shoots, I'm a simple gal. What can I say?
There you go. Lonnie, your greatest hotel of all time.
I don't know if I have one.
Okay.
Not from a redemption standpoint, not one that I've done before or looking forward to do. The hotel I want to stay at, sure, I'll knock that one out. But I mentioned that before. Intercontinental Le Grand in Paris is literally like across the street from the Louvre Museum. Just go look it up. It is French elaborate over French elaborate, and it ain't cheap either. But Intercontinental Le Grand, because I'm American, Le Grand, if you're from France.
Le Grand.
Just go look it up.
All right. So for me, I can definitely use points to do this redemption. It's not far from me, but doing a points redemption at the Waldorf on Park Avenue would be fantastic. Even getting and using a free night award at that particular Waldorf. Like I'll get a standard room. Oh, it's a standard room at a $1,500 a night hotel. I think I'm okay. And it's 150,000 points. So I could pair that free night certificate with my points and do 2 nights at the Waldorf. That would be amazing. So that one definitely sounds cool. The one thing I would love to do, and it would just be hilarious if I could, would just be to cash out all my points for at 1 cent per point in one of my ecosystems, and then use those points to book a night at a Four Seasons. Because there are no Four Seasons point transfer capabilities. The Four Seasons does not believe in loyalty programs. They do not let you generate points. They don't care. They are above that. So using my points, cashing them out, and then using the points that I've accumulated to pay for a night at the Four Seasons would be fantastic. Don't
The
have a
four
particular Four Seasons in mind, though.
the Four Seasons loyalty program is in fact Gold Press Platinum.
Yes, and headquartered in Ferenginar. Or Tatooine with Joe in Jabba's challenge. Anyway, one or the other. So yeah, I would love to cash out my points, just book a night at the Four Seasons, and just go from there. It would literally cash out like if I cashed out all my Chase points and all my Wells Fargo points right now, I could definitely make a night or two at a Four Seasons work, maybe a week, depending on which level of Four Seasons I'm going to. But that would be pretty cool. Otherwise, the Waldorf, the original Waldorf in New York City would be fantastic. So there we go. And we'll finish bookending questions with Jason, who asks, what perk or aspect of the loyalty program would you steal from your non-preferred program to add to your airline and hotel programs of choice? So what aspect of perk from a loyalty program that you don't use would you add to your airline or hotel program of choice? Lonnie, I'll throw to you on this one first.
I was not prepared for this.
Ooh.
I will first say Venture X, 2X everything, add it to anything that I have in my pocket. I don't care. I'll take 2X on any card that I currently have in my pocket. I can't really think of anything else. If anything else, I would say like instant status with an airline. I know Delta has something like that, but no airline really has get our card and you instantly have status. So I can't really use that one, but it'll be great to, for example, you got the United Black card and you instantly got some type of United status that was at least gold or higher. That would be great. Doesn't exist. But 2x everything, I got to keep that one. I would say the $300 travel credit, but of course I already have that on my CSR, so I'm gonna stick with 2x everything.
Absolutely. RJ.
So technically, Hilton is my preferred hotel program. So IHG would technically be my non-preferred program, and I wish the something like IHG Ambassador was on everything. Like it's great. Like just being able to be like, I'm gonna buy the thing, I'm gonna get these benefits, and then everybody's happy. I have paid you money, you have given me benefits, everybody's happy. Like I love that. I would be so happy to do that for Delta and for Hilton and for anybody else that I cared to do. I would probably do it for even United or American. If I could just pay $200 and have certain guarantees like that, and if I ever needed them for whatever reason, it was already there baked in for me, I'd probably do it because I am somebody who likes to be over prepared, as we have discussed for a year and a couple of weeks. So for me, like it is worth doing all of that. So if I could take something like that for all of them, I would be very, very happy.
I don't really have preferred airlines. Well, my preferred airline would be JetBlue. So anything from a higher tier status from the accelerator earnings from 1K or Delta Diamond or what is it, Platinum Executive Platinum Pro or Executive Pro, Executive Platinum, whatever American Airlines top one is, right? Like that earning capability, just like on Mosaic 1 would be amazing if I was Mosaic 1. Otherwise, like the hotel programs, people are like programs are starting to move away from guaranteed late checkout. Like Hilton, you have to pay for guaranteed checkout, which is fine. That's not a knock against Hilton. You're going to see Marriott decouple guaranteed late checkout in the next couple of years if it works for Hilton because they're making money. Marriott will decouple it from your status and make it a paid option. You'll see the same thing from Hyatt. So I don't know what other aspects from like Hyatt I would want to see move to Hilton, or from Hilton I'd want to see move to Hyatt. Complimentary breakfast is always good, but like I don't go to the high enough hotel tiers where I know where I have to pay for breakfast typically, and I have to worry about Globalist or Diamond picking up the slack on that one. If anything, the food and beverage credits that you get from Hilton Gold or Hilton Diamond, if you applied that to Hyatt, that would be pretty fantastic. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot of others. Or those food and beverage credits while flying JetBlue would be interesting.
Matt, wouldn't you just want a high-end airline credit card that doesn't suck?
Shut up. Yes.
The Delta Reserve and the United Club are really good cards. Even the AA card is better than the JetBlue Premier trash can. The Apple trash can is better than the JetBlue Premier card.
I want the damn lounge JFK to open. I want to see what that lounge is like. And I can't get into that lounge because I can't bring myself to spend $500 on a stupid fucking card. That's just awful. Fine. All right. Thanks so much, Jason. As always, check us out at stackyourpoints.com. You can find our videos, membership, Discord. All of that will be at Stack Your Points. As always, we'd like to shout out our Diamond and new members. Our Diamond members are Rex Bleen, Rupert Pond, or Rupert Pond, Double Animal Fries, AP Keith, Mitch 528, and our new silver members as of like 15 minutes from before recording. I don't know what I'm doing, and AJB. So thank you all. If you want to shout out on the show, just join the membership. We have 3 tiers. We have silver, gold, and diamond. Think of it like Hilton. And We look forward to you joining us next week. Bye for now.